Do you agree with Stephanie White?
Listen, I don't watch the WNBA extensively enough to say whether I agree or disagree. But I've often used the line, Shay, that I'll share with you because I don't know if I've ever used it while you've been on the air with me. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it ain't a damn mongoose. I've said that many, many times over the years. There is a flagrant level of resentment that exists when it comes to Caitlin Clark. And it has existed since she has arrived in the league. She is the cash cow.
One whistle, one collision, one replay, and within minutes, the entire basketball world stopped talking about the final score. Instead, everyone was asking the exact same question. What really happened to Caitlin Clark? Nobody expected a single sequence from an ordinary regular season game to dominate basketball conversations across the country. Not the fans inside the arena, not the broadcasters calling the game, and certainly not the thousands of people who would later spend hours replaying the exact same clip from every possible angle. But that's exactly what happened. The final buzzer sounded. The players walked toward the locker rooms. Yet, the biggest story of the night was only beginning. Within minutes, social media completely exploded. The replay appeared everywhere. Basketball pages, sports channels, YouTube creators, podcasts, national television. Everyone seemed to be talking about the same moment. And here's what made the entire situation even more fascinating. Nobody could agree on what they had just watched. Some fans looked at the replay and said it was simply another hard basketball play. Others watched the exact same footage and came away with a completely different opinion. The debate wasn't just intense. It was everywhere. People weren't watching the clip once. They were watching it again, then slowing it down, then comparing different camera angles, then reading thousands of comments from fans who all believed they had the correct answer. The more people watched, the more divided the basketball world became. That's when the story took another unexpected turn. The discussion didn't stay inside the WNBA community. It quickly spread across national sports media. Television shows started discussing it. Basketball analysts offered completely different perspectives. Former players weighed in with their own opinions. Every new voice added another layer to the conversation. And suddenly, what started as one controversial sequence had become one of the biggest basketball stories of the week. Then came another major development. Stephen A. Smith addressed the growing conversation during First Take, bringing even more national attention to a debate that was already dominating headlines.
On this news, Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas receives flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension. I want to know your thoughts. Is 1 game enough? 2 games, 3 games? I'm seeing some say 5 games. I'm seeing some people say 10 games Alyssa Thomas should have been suspended for. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas receives flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension. June 25th, 2026. Upon post-game review, the Phoenix Mercury's Alyssa Thomas has received a flagrant foul 2 penalty and a 1-game suspension for recklessly making contact with her fist to the throat area of Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark. It was announced today by the WNBA. The incident, for which Thomas was deemed to have committed a non-basketball act, occurred with the 6 minutes and 52 seconds remaining in the second quarter of the Mercury's 111-109 win over the Fever last night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Per WNBA rule, the league office has the option following its review of any game to reclassify a flagrant foul or to classify as flagrant any foul not called as such during a game and may impose a fine and or suspension. Alyssa Thomas will serve her suspension on June 27th when the Mercury visit the Toronto Tempo. Now I have a question, because this is similar to what happened with Kennedy Carter. This is also similar with what happened with DJ Nick Carrington. I have a question to the WNBA shills out there. Do any of you guys have the stones? Shout out to Rudy. Any of you guys have the guts, the balls, the courage?
The moment one of the biggest personalities in sports television entered the discussion, the story reached an entirely different level. Now, it wasn't just Fever fans debating the play. Basketball fans everywhere wanted answers. Was this simply aggressive, high-level competition? Did the officials manage the situation appropriately? Or has this moment become part of a much larger conversation about physical play, consistency, and player safety in today's WNBA? Those questions continue dividing fans, and that's exactly why this story refuses to disappear, because every replay seems to create another opinion. Every opinion creates another debate, and every debate brings even more people into the conversation. One moment, one replay, one decision, and suddenly an entire league found itself at the center of one of the most talked about discussions of the season. So, what actually happened during that sequence? Why has one play generated so many different reactions from fans, analysts, and former players? And why are people still debating it long after the game has ended? Let's slow everything down, examine the sequence from beginning to end, and explore why this single moment has become one of the biggest talking points surrounding the Indiana Fever this season. As the game moved deeper into its most competitive moments, the intensity naturally increased. Every possession carried extra weight. Every rebound mattered. Neither team was willing to give up easy opportunities. And every player understood how important momentum had become. You could feel the energy changing. Every defensive stop was celebrated. Every loose ball became a battle. The physical nature of the game continued building possession after possession. Then came the sequence everyone is still talking about. A fast-moving play involving Caitlin Clark immediately drew attention from both the crowd and viewers watching at home.
Her star power and her cachet, and as a result, if they have an opportunity to go at her, they're going to take it. Now, Caitlin Clark is no innocent bystander in all of this. She's a high-end competitor. She can be very feisty. We saw from her college days where she can chirp and talk junk at you, which is why Angel Reese went at her when they ultimately beat her for the national championship, because she was chirping right back at her and trolling her. That's where the real fame of Angel Reese rose. We saw all of this. In the end, there are people that undoubtedly respect her, and you have an appreciation for what she's brought to the game in terms of notoriety and what have you. And I'll be the first to say that the Janae Ogumakays, the Andrea Carters, and all of them, Monica McNutts, are far more qualified than me to speak on the issue because they see more of it than I do. But with what I've seen, you are able to say 1 + 1 = 2. And there's been a level of resentment that has existed where I believe there's been a failure on the part of some people to appreciate the mantra of a rising tide lifts all boats. Ride this cash cow till the wheels come off. They did it in the NBA with Magic Johnson. They did it ultimately with Michael Jordan. You know, that's how you do this. You find somebody that just galvanizes folks and ingratiates themselves with the public at large in such a way where everywhere they go and whatever they do, everybody wants to watch. You don't resent that. You feed off of it to build your own. And I think that WNBA as a whole, that women's basketball as a whole, and some, not most, not all, but some WNBA players need to appreciate that and gravitate to that and grab hold of that and ride that wave to your own ascension, as opposed to resenting it and showcasing it the second you get an opportunity to, whenever Caitlin Clark is in your vicinity. That would be my advice. That's all I could say about that.
I didn't love that this happened not once but twice yesterday, where there was basically a no call. I thought Stephanie White did the right thing. She should have gone off. She needs to protect her superstar.
She did.
That's her right. Completely.
Absolutely.
I also do think the league should probably review this. I don't have information on if they have started that process or not, but I think that maybe would be a good call, considering some of the images that have come out from this. I'm not calling anyone a dirty player, but it did feel a little bit like a cheap shot. So I agree with Stephanie.
Well, the NBA, if the NBA is going to review calls, you're saying the WNBA can review calls and act retroactively and make sure that you hand down appropriate punishment where you deem that.
Inside the arena, reactions happened almost instantly. Online, those reactions multiplied within minutes. Clips began spreading across social media at an incredible pace. Basketball creators started posting slow-motion breakdowns. Fans paused the replay frame by frame. Different camera angles surfaced, and each new angle seemed to spark an entirely new debate. Some believed the officials made the correct decision in real time. Others argued the replay raised difficult questions worth discussing. That's exactly why this moment became much bigger than a single possession. Because once millions of basketball fans begin examining the same play from different perspectives, the conversation naturally grows beyond the game itself. And that's exactly what happened. The more people watched, the more questions they had. The more questions they had, the larger the discussion became. And with every passing hour, it became increasingly clear that this wasn't simply another viral highlight. It had become one of the defining basketball conversations of the